What goes down the heart of us is that distinction between a person who holds the idea that you are free to criticize any idea or not. And in our societies, whether you're a static or a dynamic society, whether you endorse being in a static or dynamic society, and that is about whether or not you have this tradition of criticism, this willingness to embrace the ability to improve any idea no matter what it is, not holding immune certain ideas, certain books, certain supernatural beliefs as being unable in principle to be improved because it's perfect in some way, or that you are the possessor of the ultimate and only interpretation of those ideas. As soon as you start saying you may not criticize, you may not insult, you may not make fun of, you may not draw certain things, then you are not a part of this society, of this culture of criticism, this tradition of criticism, this way in which we can ensure the improvement gradually, incrementally, over time of our societies and of our institutions, of ensuring that progress happens as fast as possible. And yet, in our societies, despite the rapid change, the rapid progress, we remain stable because the institutions we have are able to course correct when we make a mistake, when the criticism is misdirected, when the new idea is a bad idea. Then those institutions are able to course correct and enable us to continue to make rapid progress over time. And despite that rapid progress, we remain stable. This is the tradition that we've had. And we can look to places like the United Kingdom, especially, that has remained relatively stable for the longest period of time. And the United States that has remained relatively stable for the longest period of time. There have not been, modulo a few exceptions over the years, huge revolutions. There haven't been huge changes in the way in which government operates, for example. And so these are the places that we wish to preserve, because we don't know all the reasons why these institutions, these governments, these nations remain stable over time. We can look at all the failed states around the world, and we can point to the reasons why they fail. One of the reasons why they fail is specifically for what I've been talking about. They have anti-democratic institutions, and once you have an anti-democratic institution, by Popper's lights, by the idea that the only way of removing the leader is through violence, because you have a tyrannical government, because you're not able to vote out the leaders, then once you have that kind of thing in place, then you will get violence. You will get instability. And if you have cultures or traditions or governments that say you cannot criticize me, or you cannot criticize this tenet, this idea, this law, then indeed you will ultimately end up with violence, because the revolution will come. The revolution, the overthrow of the Enlightenment, of the Western tradition, of Western democracies, has not happened. And in my opinion, will not happen, because the institutions are robust enough to ensure that we can course correct in time. And the overwhelming majority of people still endorse this idea that anything can be criticized. Now, I'm not sure that things couldn't go south completely. I'm not sure that a majority eventually won't think that there are certain ideas in our society that you cannot criticize. If that happens, then hope fades. Then we're in trouble. At the moment, we're not there. I don't think we're there by any stretch of the imagination. I think there's a lot of, as David Deutsch has observed as well, a lot of hyperbole going on out there.